place where they say you can have them, the police are still going to be there attacking you, controlling you, taxing you for your lifestyle choice, right? So this is why we call it a war. And it's a war on consciousness because it is about controlling how you think and act. And it comes at us not just through what we put into our bodies to expand our consciousness, but also what we receive directly through the internet, through television, through mass media in particular. Mass media is all about this stuff called perception management. It's about literally managing how you perceive things. It used to be called public relations, and before it was called public relations, it was called propaganda. And what it aspires to do is to keep you in the dark and keep you believing a myth. A myth, a cultural myth that binds you to the culture of the nation state. And with us, we've got a whole bunch of them in America, you know, and they're all fucking ridiculous if you actually like pick up a history book and start to look into them. And you know, the founding fathers and freedom and liberty and all of this, and they're just like these ideas. And this guy, Leo Strauss, came around. He started talking about this idea of, you know, a culture can only be held together if it has a common enemy. So there needs to be a common enemy to point it at, and a flag to unite it behind, right? This thing called the noble lie, which is where it's okay in the interest of the greater good to lie to the ignorant masses because they don't really understand and we're just taking care of them, right? I mean, all of this is about keeping people in the dark and keeping them pliable. It also ultimately boils down to money. When we talk about cognitive liberty, and we talk about, you know, self-medicine and treating oneself and learning and expanding. I don't know how many other people here, but I'm a medical cannabis patient, and I consider myself a legitimate medical cannabis patient in that I take it for like legitimate ailments. I got like crushed joints and surgery all over the place, and my bones ache all the time, and blah, 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 and wow, why did it take until I was only in my mid-30s to be able to get the permission to do this, like we have in California, right? But ultimately, like, what is that all about? And it's like, pharmaceutical company can patent this and make money. If you grow it in your ground, well, not only do you get the benefits of it and there's no taxation on it, but you can also, like, amass a lot of money and do other things, you know? You know, there was a lot of understanding by the government by how much the drug underground, the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, for example, of one of many underground drug-producing movements funded the revolutionary movements of the day, gave them lots of money, right? Gave SDS and the Black Panthers and so on. And that stuff is still going on, and the government knows this. It's kind of gotten weird, but like the weed economy supports a lot of subversive activity in California. And it is the #1 cash economy. And what's going on this year is kind of funny, because after, what has it been, 96 to 20, almost 15 odd years of Prop 215 being passed, and dispensaries and systems growing up all over California, and billions of dollars being made in that economy. This year it all came almost crashing down to nothing, except for specific municipalities and counties who had voted it as okay, because the Obama administration was losing voters in California, losing right-wing and centrist voters. And they sacrificed medical cannabis in order to boost their numbers with conservatives and moderates. Now, I know this because when they raided Oaksterdam University and shut down all of the dispensaries inside Oakland, one of my friends who is American for Safe Access, kind of intervention person, they go and protest whenever there's a raid on a clinic or a dispensary. She talked to the lead DEA agent and asked him why they were raiding this clinic that had been around for a long time. And why now? And the agent said, because Obama's losing votes. And he said, and frankly, we're okay with this because when you guys close, the black market opens up. And we know who all those people are. And they're going to get really fat. And they're going to sell a lot of weed, and we're going to wait for the right moment, and we're going to go in and we're going to raid them. They fatten them up for the slaughter is basically what it boils down to. And you know, most of what went on in California, like right after Obama took office, and then over the first couple of years, was like smashing grab jobs. So when Obama first called off the feds, because he said, okay, no more federal raids on medical cannabis clinics, what happened was that the state, local, county, municipal law enforcement came in their place. And instead of going through the process of a federal raid and a federal, you know, what is it when they, injunction and all that to shut you down, this was just smash and grab. The cops just came in, they knew when the dispensary was doing well, they would wait for them to sell all their product, and they would come in, take all the money, take all the product, and just leave, and destroy the place. Shoot the dogs if there was a dog there. It's common policy. It's no secret that psychedelics change consciousness. It's no secret that they're revolutionary. I mean, we've known this for a while. What is absolutely fascinating to me is how easily that culture was dismissed. So that today, a simple stereotype of a guy in a tie-dye saying something really weird will dismiss an entire hour of scientific research vetted and proven that a doctor will tell you about psychedelic medicine. One bad stereotype. And I believe, and I'm sure that people who live through it believe, that this is a direct result of the propaganda that began with the right wing and Reagan in 1980 and was inculcated into now 2 generations. My generation is Gen Xers, and then the Echo Boomers, who've like grown up thinking that like hippies were stupid and Woodstock was crazy, and you know, we should just, if you do drugs, they're bad, and yada yada yada. And this whole idea of the word drug and the word substance and all this stuff, it's like it's all basic programming meant to change like how we look at the whole thing by casting it in moral terms. You know, it's not, it's a health issue, it's a biochemical issue, it's a metabolic thing more than anything else. Ultimately, all the substances you put in your body are catalysts towards natural reactions, so what are we really talking about here? How do we differentiate between this drug here and this drug here? And what it all boils down to is it profitable? Can it be patented? Can it be used for social control? This is what I like to call the scattershot version of my talk, the sleep deprivation 2.0 version. I've lived through this myself, by the way. I mean, part of my whole journey involved me becoming a drug addict for 10 years. I was a crack addict, by the way. Liked to smoke crack a lot. And I crossed the cultural divide and went into the part of society that they don't want nice middle-class white boys going into. And I saw exactly how that world operates. Because, you know, when you see a neighborhood flooded with drugs and flooded with guns, you know they had to come from somewhere. And as, you know, Dick Gregory used to say, our people don't own transport planes. Our people don't own semi-trucks. Our people don't manufacture submachine guns. You know, somebody had to come in and sell them all that stuff. Somebody had to move all that stuff from somewhere. You know, Jimmy down the block didn't move 500 kilos from Colombia. Somebody had to do that. Anyway, I'm sorry that I'm rambling on Palenque, Norte, because I've been really honored to be a part of this. And I'm really honored that I'm in the company of people that I am, speaking in this series. It is a nice kind of completion to a long journey that at one point had me doubting I was going to get out. And I went through prison, and I went through recovery, and I put my life back together, and I faced down the ultimate question with suicide, and was saved by shamanic medicine, by ayahuasca. Literally saved at the last moment. When I had decided and stockpiled the drugs I was going to use to kill myself, and decided on the date and everything, and then by chance a person I had only met once before, and the day I got out of prison 4 months earlier, dropped by this party I was at that I was invited to at the last second, and told me about this ayahuasca when I uncontrollably blurted out to her that I was going to commit suicide when I went home. And I made a pact to stick around for 2 weeks until this ceremony came. I didn't know anything about it, I just kind of knew it was weird. You threw up a lot. But I had like this whole death rebirth purging experience that like had me skipping home in the morning. And I started a whole new life on January 15th, 2006. And a year later I got here. I started growing my hair on that day, and I like committed to going to Burning Man on that day. I can't tell you why, I just did. And I grew dreads down to here until this March. 7 years of healing that went into me. 7 years of work with this and other shamanic medicines and plants and MDMA, which was what got me sent to prison because I was turned on to Maps's work almost 10 years ago, and was taking it to try to get through the post-traumatic stress disorder that I had from a lifetime of violence and abuse and rape and, you know, street insanity, being a drug addict. You know, so like I have such an incredible connection to this medicine and this culture. It pains me to see how underground it's been forced. I mean, I'm very glad that MAPS has done their diligent work to get it out into the open again. There's a lot of great media these days. And getting to just start to maybe begin changing people's attitudes. But we still got a long way to go. And there are more police out here than there's ever been before. And as the head of like a very large sound camp that had to deal with this last year, they are out here in a way that they've never been before. And they're not out here to bust people. Why? Because almost everybody who comes here has money. And almost everybody who comes here is white. And they all go home to some productive endeavor, or they start all over again and get into the Burning Man cycle. Either way, they're not a threat. They're out here having fun, and we are taxing them for their fun. And that's what the police do here. They don't want to bust you because it costs too much money, it's too much paperwork, it's too much of a hassle to take you from here to Gerlach, Empire, Carroll, Pershing, Wapaho, Washoe, whatever it is, Reno, and bust you. So what they do is they tax you. And we're like shooting fish in a barrel out here. So they'll just find where we all are, and one by one go in and bust us and charge us as much as we can possibly imagine, because we will pay it because it keeps us from going to prison. And they walk out of here millions of dollars richer. I don't know what pisses me off more, like being sent to prison over the use of the substances I choose, or allowing the police force to get fatter and richer and buy second cars for themselves over the use of my substances. It's a vehicle, and we have to find a way to stop it. And the thing is, like, I was blessed, at Boom I had a huge European crowd, and they're really plugged into this stuff, and they're politically active. I gotta tell you, I could do 20, 30 gigs across this country and barely draw, 100 people talking about this stuff, because people don't want to hear it. It bores them, it scares them, it means they have to do something. It's a drag, man. It's a fucking drag. Why do I want to be involved? Why would I want to go fight that? I'm fine, they're gonna leave me alone. I'm just gonna do my shit over here. Why do I have to go get political about it? And you're right, you don't, if you can get away with it, but do you really want to hide? Like, do you really want to live under the fear of criminal justice and losing your life? Do you really want to feel ashamed to not be able to tell other people, hey, you know what, like, I use psychedelics. I'm afraid they're going to look at you with that crazy, like, oh, you're one of those people, aren't you? Fear is an amazing motivator. So I always encourage people to speak out, to own your shit, to stand proud with your use, to talk about what it's done for you in a positive way to everybody that you can. Don't be a proselytizer, don't be obnoxious, but just make things happen. Get involved in your communities, get involved in initiatives to change laws, get involved in initiatives to repeal drug laws. Like, try to do something, but more than anything else, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom that it's not all that they told you. That it's actually something different. It's on all of us to make this the world that we want. And if we really want the freedom for our children that we've been fighting for and our parents were fighting for, then something's got to give. And we are in this unique moment in time where we just might see that opening to make something happen. So keep your eyes on it. And I'm going to open up for some questions if anybody has them. I know that given the disjointed nature of my sleep-deprived talk, if you don't have questions for me, I won't take offense to it.